Hey everybody, I'm Anthony, and this is Buzzcast, episode 4. With me today is...
Addison Pettiford.
And it's just us this evening. Alright, well, we are going to quickly go over our topics. This should be a quick episode since we don't have, the usual posse that we normally do. Today's first topic for Yay or Nay is Legend of Korra, Season 2, Episode 1, The Rebelling Spirit. This episode aired on Friday, and it was obviously the first episode of the new season, where Korra, the main character and the newest avatar, has to, she's going to learn a little bit about the spiritual world, and, because last season she took on non-benders, and so they're running out of villains, so now we're going to take on spirits. Addison, yay or nay for Legend of Korra?
I give it a yay. Mostly just because I think this is a very interesting story. They did kind of dwell on this a little bit in the original Last Airbender series, but not too much. So it is kind of cool that they're kind of filling in the gaps of where the first series left off. But I am not after how the first episode started and ended. I am not a real fan of Korra, the character. She seems very kind of bratty and jumps to conclusions, so I'm just not a huge fan of hers, per se.
Alright. I'm also going to give it a yay. Before I even get to characters, I thought the episode itself was beautiful. I mean, the art was well done, even the characters are well done, the action's well done. I mean, last season it was all, martial arts, and there was all this flowing movement, and it was very nice and well done. And this one, it was just spirits and how they moved, and they were really fast, but they all kind of flowed. So, I mean, it was just really nice to see them do something different. Character-wise, I like, it was only an episode, and it was an hour long, and so we didn't get to see that much, but we got to see Kaya and Bumi, who are the two eldest children of Aang, who are Tenzin's older siblings, and the three of them together was great, and, personally, I felt like, hey, we could just follow them for this season, and I would have been perfectly fine, and the airbending kids. Also, like Addison said, I don't agree with, I don't like Korra in this season. I mean, she was pretty cool last season because it was like, oh, she's the opposite of Aang. But it just seems like there was no development at all. She hasn't grown up at all. I know it's only been 6 months to the end of season 1, but she just showed no development. She was still this bratty, this kid who was like, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. And I understand that as a teenager. But she gets manipulated. The same thing happened with Tarlok in the first season, where he manipulated her to get what he wanted, and I feel like that's what her uncle character is doing in this. But yeah, so yay for this season, especially since Aubrey Plaza's in it from Parks and Rec, Safety Not Guaranteed, and the latest movie was the Do List. So she's a side character, and she has very few lines with very few emotions, like most of her characters. But no, I was excited to see her in it. And, Bolin was in it, of course, and he's funny. Him and Azumi have this, buddy-buddy relationship. Where Mako, who was the debonair character last season, is just boring. Now he's the boyfriend, and Korra is the dominant girlfriend. And, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like, maybe you guys should be apart because you were more interesting characters when you weren't together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's me. So yay for Legend of Korra Season 2. Alright, so our next topic was, earlier last week, excuse me, Harley Quinn, it's writers, I'm going to butcher his last name, but it's Jimmy Palamodi and Amanda Connor wrote the new Harley Quinn series, and they put a contest out saying, hey, for any of you who want to be our new artist, submit these 4 columns of Harley Quinn committing suicide, and the last one has to be her in a bath committing suicide with a toaster, or something along those lines. And yeah, people were very, very offended by this, and but they're still going with the competition. They've also yesterday released an apology. But Addison, yay or nay for the way they've gone about this, the Harley Quinn contest?
For the way they went about it, I give it a nay. I think it was very kind of unprofessional, really, to ask people who aren't used to writing comics for a mainstream publisher to write something like that. Because, I mean, honestly, when you first think of suicide, you think of, cutting, hanging, and, other worse stuff. But earlier today, we were actually talking about this, and Anthony kind of explained what someone made, and it kind of seemed more comical looking, like not too serious. But I don't find suicide comical at all. So, yeah, I give this an A.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it an A, but I'm gonna have to give it a quick. I'm not trying to defend what happened. Okay, so with this contest and everything, they had people submit, or one artist said that this was an opportunity he's been waiting for all his life, for one of the big two, and this was his chance to get in there. But how dare they make him have to sexualize suicide, because Harley Quinn has become this highly sexual character when before she was a hench girl. She was the fan favorite hench girl for the Joker, and now they've given her this independence where she's sexy. And originally she was a girl with this like like a stocking looking costume and makeup, and it was very not sexy. I mean, it was a tight costume, but there was no skin showing. It wasn't until Arkham City and Arkham Asylum they gave her sexy outfits, and the comics they've started, and even in the new Suicide Squad she wears newer clothes. But yeah, she wasn't supposed to be like the super sexual character. She was a crazy person who fell in love with the Joker. And I'm sorry, I just had two thoughts go across my mind. But so basically, my point is, the way that they did this contest, I can understand. Like, it's Harley Quinn, the Joker's gone, and she doesn't have her will to live. She's lost her will and everything. And so I can understand that being like the idea of suicide. Like, she's getting rid of her old life. And I think the way they said, oh well, have her committing suicide was stupid, and it was offensive. But they didn't do it with the idea of it being offensive. They did it because they thought, oh, this is the kind of concept we're looking for this cover or for the story, and they didn't even think about it being offensive. So I mean, I'm not saying that what they did wasn't stupid or anything, but the way they did it, they weren't doing it to be offensive. They just didn't even think about it. They were completely ignorant about it. So I'm gonna give it an A also, just an A. Yeah, there's no other defense to it. It's an A. All right, we're going on to our third topic, which is and I know everyone's tired of hearing about Ben Affleck, but the Ben Affleck Batman for the Man of Steel sequel is said to be a tired and weary Batman, a well-experienced Batman. So, yay or nay, Addison, for the new Batman for this new rebooted universe to be tired and weary?
I give it a yay. I mean, I know at first they did say that he was going to be more seasoned, but now they added tired and weary, so we don't really know exactly how they're going to approach the tired and weary. Like, I don't think it's going to be, Batman yawning while he's fighting villains or anything, but I think it's just going to be kind of him more not as interested in what he's doing as he was when he first started out. So I give it a yay. I think it's going to be a very interesting idea of how, over a period of time, Batman's going to be a little tired of what he does.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a big old nay. This is the rebooted universe, and I'm okay with Ben Affleck as Batman. We've been over this over and over and over again. But then to say, okay, well, I mean, I understand an experienced Batman is what I'd love. I would love to have a Batman who's experienced and he's not like, oh, clumsy Batman who makes mistakes. This Batman knows what he's doing. But to be tired and weary would mean like, oh, so he's done this for a while, but now he's old, and that's what I get out of tired and weary, is that he's going to be this older person. He's not going to be able to keep up. He should be able to keep up with Batman anymore, but because he shouldn't be able to keep up with Superman, because Superman's obviously not human and Batman is. But I wanted to be like the very confident Batman who will. I don't know. I guess I'm going to ramble, but in the end, I end up seeing Dark Knight Returns Batman, and not like Batman from Justice League or Batman from any of the comic book adaptations where it's him and Superman, and it's gonna stink when. So he's an old Batman versus this young Superman. It's bad enough that it was Superman versus Batman to begin with, but now it's like I feel like Father Time is also going to be a constant enemy. So yeah, I'm going to give that an A. So we're going to move on to our fourth topic. In Arrow, the CW hit show, they have casted Glee alumni Grant Gustin as Barry Allen the Flash. Addison, yay or nay on this casting?
I'm gonna give it a very hesitant yay, mostly just because I don't know the actor or his character in Glee, so I don't know really know how he acts or if he can pull the Barry Allen role. So I'm just going to give it a hesitant yay just because I'm not very sure about his acting abilities. But, in the past, we just got, what we learned is we had to give actors, a chance to prove themselves before, sending them to the gallows.
I'm going to give this a nay because, well, honestly, I have my own image of Barry Allen and the Flash character because the Flash is one of my favorite characters. And what I'm getting is that they're just casting really young people. I mean, I'm only 22, and I know Grant Gustin is only 23. I kind of imagine Flash to be, late 20s, early 30s. Because he's supposed to be a detective, or not a detective, but a forensic scientist, and him to come out at 23 and say, "Oh, I've achieved this position. I'm doing it. And I'm, a well-known forensic scientist and stuff like that." And I just don't see that. I just feel like he's too young. I feel like I know we want to make these characters last, but why? Why does it have to be like he'd be fresh out of college? I mean, I'm fresh out of college, so that's just the feeling I'm getting from it is that he's too young. And I've not watched Glee, so I don't know of his acting ability, but it just looks like I don't know. There were other people in the running to be it, and I thought he was going to be more of a rugged looking person, but being a CW show, they have to pick all these, attractive characters that can, because the Flash was to have his own spin-off series, so of course they have to have an attractive Flash to, then make a stereotypical relationship and love triangle that goes on. But I don't know. I just don't feel like he was the one I would have casted. He doesn't look like Barry Allen. I mean, he can dye his hair and whatnot, but he just, I don't know. I guess I'll be a hater just because I don't like Glee, but I've never seen it, so that's a pretty stupid comment to make. But yeah, I mean, age is going to be a big issue for me. I have very few standards for characters, but the Flash being one of my favorites, I wanted someone who I personally feel like would fill the old yellow boots. But so yeah, I'm definitely giving it an A. And finally, we're going to talk about our fifth topic for yay or nay, and that is less of a yay or nay, more of an opinion. The female superhero world in the cinematic universes for both Marvel and DC has been very slim. We've had basically Catwoman, Selena Kyle in The Dark Knight Returns, which was a side character.
Rises.
Dark Knight Rises, thank you. Dark Knight Rises. We had Scarlett Johansson, who played Black Widow in Iron Man 2 and The Avengers. Yeah. I can't think of any other.
Well, I know we're gonna have. Well.
Yeah, I'll just give it to you. Addison, who, in your opinion, who you think should be the next person, and why?
I would really like to see She-Hulk. Maybe not in her own movie, but maybe in a Hulk sequel.
But we're talking about standalone movies.
Standalone movies?
So yeah, a movie that she'd be by herself.
Oh, Captain Marvel. Miss Marvel or whatever you want to call her. I think she could probably hold her own movie. Mostly just because, she is a heavy hitter. I think she has a really good story, which I think a lot of people, should know, comic lovers or not. And I also think that would be it should be a kind of a cool bridge for, more female audiences to come and watch, a female character in charge instead of just being in the background like a Black Widow character.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to say Batgirl because I feel like Batgirl is the perfect female hero. Solely, not because basically because Batgirl was never a sidekick. No matter how they want to portray her, she helps Batman out, but she was her own character. And also, she proved that she didn't need Batman. She has the name, yes, but she didn't need Batman to define her. She, did her own thing. She solved her own cases. Even when she was shot by the Joker and paralyzed from the waist down, she became the Oracle, and she was the brain center for the entire DC universe. She, was the eye in the sky. Excuse me. And I felt like, that's what we need. If we're gonna say, oh, we want a female role model, then yes, I think Batgirl was the person to be. But if that seems like it'd be too much build up for her to be her own character in the DC or in the cinematic universe, since they can barely get their movies right. Marvel, I think, would be Miss Marvel. She's also a very strong female character who isn't defined by men. She is strong, like she's supposed to be as strong as the Hulk, and and she can shoot beams. She can have her own love interest, but that doesn't affect her ability as a hero. And I know she was known as Ms. Marvel, and now she's known as Captain Marvel. And I feel like she could be a really, and also she would help the universe. She's part of Sword in different universes and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna say either Batgirl or Miss Marvel. Yes. Okay, so that's them. Addison and sorry everybody. That's the end of Yay or Nay for this week. Like we said, for the rest of this month, we are gonna do our top favorite villains. But I'll have Addison explain that for you.
Well, for some of you who do not know, DC is doing Forever Evil, which is Villains Month. So now all our favorite DC titles will are going to be featuring that title's villain. So like for Batman, it'd be Joker, Two-Face, Penguin, etc., etc., etc. So what I've asked some of the podcasters to do is to come up with their own favorite villain and tell us why. So Anthony, who is your favorite villain and why?
A new favorite villain? Because I already said what my favorite villain was last week. So another favorite villain?
Yes.
Alright, another favorite villain would have to be... Shoot. I'm going to go last. I'll let you go.
Let's see. I had a list of heroes or villains that I was gonna choose from, but I think I'm gonna go Loki from the Thor series, and mostly just because as some of you don't know, I'm a real history buff. I love, especially in mythologies. That's where my expertise comes from, is mythology. So I really do like Loki, being the trickster of Norse mythology. And what really made me like the character was Tom Hiddleston in the movies. I thought he just did a great job. He's a very charming actor. Even when he was playing the role of Loki, you could just tell that he was just having a ball. Every time he smiled, you can just tell that that's not Loki. That's just Tom Hiddleston having the time of his life playing this character. And that's what you really want in an actor. Mm-hmm. And, he was the first villain for the Avengers. He's caused a lot of trouble for the heroes of the Marvel Universe. So I think, yeah, he is a great villain.
All right. For me, I'm going to pick Syndrome from The Incredibles. Now, let me support this, because The Incredibles, is one of my favorite Pixar movies. Obviously because it's a superhero movie, that's my thing. But also because Syndrome was a really good villain. He started out as Billy Pine, Incrediboy, who he wanted to be Mr. Incredible's sidekick, and his original name was Billy Pine. So, he shows up as a kid to be Mr. Incredible's sidekick, and he doesn't have a superpower, but he can he's a genius with inventions and machinery, and so he creates all these gadgets. He has a booster pack and stuff like that. And Mr. Incredible says, "No, kid, I work alone. Go away." So he resents Mr. Incredible, and goes off and becomes this weapons dealer, and he creates weapons for people, and he eventually goes off. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen The Incredibles.
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on you. He goes off and creates this giant robot monsters that he has on this island, and he invites different superheroes to test it for his company, and then he ends up killing them off with he ends up killing them with the machine, and every time a superhero comes, he makes it stronger and stronger and stronger until eventually takes down Mr. Incredible. But yeah, so he's pretty dark, even for a Disney movie character. He threatens their son. And no matter what you hear, this is he basically was the original for the Iron Man 3 movie. They stole the premise of Syndrome because what was it, Gillian?
Yes.
Gillian, the guy who ended up being the secret Mandarin, not the one we all come to.
Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, not Ben Kingsley version, but the other guy. He he was a guy who was like, "Hey, Tony Stark, I have a bunch of ideas. You should help me out." And Tony Stark, plays him and stands him up, and then he says, "I'm going to vouch revenge," and goes off and becomes a supervillain, and he does it all with technology. And that's basically what Syndrome does. And then he catches him and does, there's a scene where they catch Tony Stark and they tie him up, and it's the exact same scene from Incredibles. But anyway, yeah, I think Syndrome is my favorite character this week, favorite villain character this week, and I feel like he should have a spotlight. So we might do a dynamic feature on him. So yeah, that is my person.
Speaking of the Mandarin in the movie, I was very disappointed when Ben Kingsley wasn't the Mandarin, because I thought through the trailer and the first part of the movie he was just...
That's what everyone thought.
Yeah,
he technically was the Mandarin. But that was for a different review. If you want to hear what we thought about Iron Man 3, you should check out our Iron Man 3 review that we posted a couple months ago. But yeah, so that was Buzzcast Episode 4. Thank you, Addison, for being here tonight.
My pleasure.
All right, so as usual, check out our website at www.thedynamicbuzz.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out all our videos. Give us a like, comment, tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. So yeah, I'm Anthony.
I'm Addison.
And that's The Buzz.